Okay, guys, I want to make sure you can hear me. I am live on, it looks like YouTube and on Facebook at the same time. Now, I had a little issue with cameras today, but we got that fixed. So, that's not what this is about. This is about, not about cameras. This is 7 things that poor people do that rich people don't. Now, fortunately, over the years, I was born in a poor neighborhood and I grew up around poor people. So I know what poor people do. And I've been fortunate in my business and we've done okay. And I've met some incredibly wealthy people. And that's pretty cool. I'm not sure which camera to look at here. We got 2 cameras, one there, one there. And so I wanted to just kind of share these things with you because if you see some of these things in your life, 7 things that poor people do that rich people don't, you may be able to identify them and say, hey, I don't want to do these things anymore. You know, that's not the direction I want to head. Let me get this one volume down here a little bit, guys. Alrighty, so there we are. We are live. And I'm going to be able to get to comments on Facebook. I won't be able to get to comments on YouTube. We're still kind of working out some logistics there, but I wanted to go through all these things with you because I really do think it's going to be helpful. It's something that, you know, sometimes you're doing these things and you don't even realize it. You're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I do. So I don't want you to do those things. So I figure if I listed them out for you, it would help you a lot. So that's what I'm going to do. Now let me close down a couple of things here I've got. Here we go. I got them all straightened up now. So the first thing, this is the big killer. And I got to tell you, I was guilty of this years ago. I'm not anymore, but I was guilty of this years ago. And the first thing is poor people watch TV. They do. They watch a lot of TV. And it's amazing how much time that will burn up. And that's number one if you're keeping track. But the amount of time that TV will burn up, if you have a lot of favorite shows, you probably don't have a very big bank account if you've got a lot of favorite shows. So that's the first thing I would tell you is that by watching these shows constantly, you're just gonna you're gonna hurt yourself. You are. You know, rich people tend to read books. They tend to learn things. They tend to get better at what they do. And you know, it's just kind of a bad thing. You know, TV is probably not going to do you any good. And I'm not saying never watch TV. But, you know, some people, they make a career of it. I mean, they put in their 6-8 hours a day watching TV, and it's a shame because it's really not going to get you anywhere, and it's going to cost you a tremendous amount of money. And the way it costs you money is that same time could be invested in doing something that's going to move you forward. And I know a lot of people say, well, I need my downtime, and that's why I watch TV, and that's why I have my shows. You really don't. You really don't need that. And it's really, you know, it's probably doing you more harm than good because, you know, for the most part, it's negative. You know, it's people arguing or bickering or bad news or whatever. So I'm going to tell you that you probably don't need that. That's probably not something you need. But, you know, some people do it. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you is that poor people get paid by the hour, you know, or salary every couple of weeks. And rich people get paid based on results. What do they do? What do they do that contributes? What do they do, you know, that gets them more money? And I'll give you a good example. It's, you know, some people say, well, I'm a really good person. I really work hard. And I know you work hard, but I want you to stop and just look at your job for a second and ask yourself, how many people could do your job? How many? And now I'm not saying that you're not good at your job, but I'm just saying, is your job easily replaceable? Is this something that, you know, hey, George, I just saw George jump in there, just talked to him on the phone a little while ago. But is your job something that almost anybody can do? You know, if you're working fast food, you know, I thought it was funny a few years ago, everybody was talking about, well, fast food workers need to be paid more because they can't live off their wages. And that may be true, but that job is a beginner job. It's not designed for you to be able to live off the wages. And a lot of jobs are like that. You know, you're just, you know, a janitor. You could be the best janitor in the world. I mean, you could be a phenomenal janitor and you could really clean better than everybody else, but it's easy to find somebody who can be a janitor. You know, if you're a brain surgeon, that's a little bit tougher, right? You don't have a lot of applicants for brain surgeon. So those guys are going to get paid a whole lot more. And I do marketing and I get paid based on my results in marketing online. And since I get paid on that, I get paid very well because I get good results, okay? And I figured out things that worked. And I got to tell you, when I started off on this, you know, I was in the automotive industry and I didn't even know how to type. And I'll tell you the truth, I still don't know how to type. And I didn't know how to send emails, and I didn't know anything about web pages, or I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew that I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore, and I knew I wanted to do something different. So the number 2 thing I'm going to tell you is you've got to, you know, change that skill set. You know, if you're doing something that anybody else can do and you're working for wages, then you're never going to make much money. It's just the way it is. Another thing that poor people do, and you see this all the time, is they blame other people. They blame their boss, they blame their family, they blame their friends, they blame the government, they blame taxes, they blame the interest rate. They got blamed for everybody. And the problem with that is that if you're blaming everybody, the things that really are your responsibility, you're never even going to notice because you've got an excuse for where you're at and what's going on. And when you do that, guess what? You never get ahead. It just never happens. So, you know, that's another thing. That's number 3. Poor people blame people. That's the way it is. Now, the next thing is, and you've probably been taught this your whole life, and I was too, is that you need to save. You got to save. You got to save. You know, you got to save. You know, a penny saved. Well, here's the deal with a penny saved. It's still a penny. It's still not worth anything. And you're never going to be able to outsave inflation because you're never going to get the interest rate that inflation is. It's just the way it is. So if you were to save constantly, and I'm not saying don't save some money, you got to save some money for a rainy day. But if you think that's going to get you rich, you're totally wrong. Rich people invest. You know, they buy stocks, they invest in real estate, they buy things that are going to increase in value. I remember, gosh, it's probably been 10, 11, 12 years ago. I was at one of our dealerships up in Tyson's Corner, and I was looking at this Sirius stock, Sirius XM stock, and can I look that up right now? I don't know if I can look that up. Let me see if I can look that up, because this will be a really great part of the story. Sirius XM stock. And anyhow, I looked down at my phone. I said, well, how much is Sirius XM stock? What does it sell for? Because I was looking out there at all these cars on the lot, and I was noticing they all had a Sirius radio in them. They all had Sirius XM radios. And the stock was 24 cents. Wow. I thought, well, I can afford that. That I can afford. So I bought it, and I didn't buy enough. But I will tell you right now, at September 4th, 2019, guess what that stock's worth? $6.22. Now, if I had invested 24 cents in a savings account and waited 10, 12 years, it would not be worth $6.22. I promise you. So that little bit of money I put in there was an investment, and it went up, and I did nothing for it. And I also started buying some other stocks at the same time because I saw this trend thing. So you got to not save. You got to save, but don't focus on that as a way to make money because you're not going to do it. It's never going to happen. You've always got to put some money aside for a rainy day, but you know, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get rich. Now, here's a big one because one thing I do every now and then, my guilty pleasure on the weekend, I'll turn on that. And this is going to be number 5. I'll turn on that show Live PD. You ever see that show Live PD? And I don't. Maybe it makes me feel better about myself because I look at those people and I go, well, that person's an idiot. That person's stupid. That person's dumb. But you know, the one thing that I've noticed on that show, and they're poor people for the most part that those police are coming up against, is poor people know it all. They friggin' know it all. They get into arguments about what they know. And let me tell you what knowing it all is. Knowing it all is nothing more than saying, I've got this opinion, look at me. Look at me, I've got this opinion. So saying you know it all is basically just saying, you know, look at me, I want attention. I want attention. And for the most part, those people who know it all, and I get it, you know, I get comments on my videos, well, you should have done this, and you should have done this, and your lighting's not this, and I don't like the copy you did, and I think you're wrong about this. And then I always say, what have you done? What have you sold online? When was the last time you had $1 million sale or $500,000 sale? When was the last time you sold $100 online? But you're so willing to give advice, which is hilarious to me. And I just look at those people and I'm like, wow, they're giving me comments on what I should do, and they don't do anything. It makes no sense to me. So that's number 5 is poor people know it all. Rich people understand they don't know it all, and they constantly learn. You know, a piece of software I'm using right now and a camera, you can't see this camera if you're on Facebook. You can on YouTube because I'm looking right at you. But this whole setup I've got here now, I didn't have, you know, a few days ago. And it's like every year I have new software. The software I use for marketing now called Kartra, I didn't use that 2 years ago. It's like you have to constantly evolve. And I realize I've got to keep learning because I don't know everything, and things are going to change. And if I don't do that, then I'm going to fall behind. So that's the big one. Number 5, poor people know it all. Number 6, poor people believe that money is the root of all evil. You've heard it over and over. I heard it as a kid growing up because I lived in a poor neighborhood. And I always said, those rich people, they're bad people. They've got to be, because they've got money. They had to have done something wrong to get money. And rich people believe that poverty is the root of all evil. Think about it. You think of a bad neighborhood in your town, that's where all the burglaries occur, and that's where all the break-ins occur, and that's where all the drug sales occur. You don't see that happening in Beverly Hills. You don't, I mean, I live in a nice area here in San Diego. We don't have those kind of problems in the neighborhood. So the truth is, the lack of money is the root of all evil. Not having money causes you to do things you probably wouldn't otherwise do because you're not happy in your situation. You're upset or whatever. So, no bank has ever been robbed by somebody driving a Rolls Royce. It just hasn't happened, right? They don't need to do that. It's a waste of their time. So, money in itself is a neutral thing. And, money can do good and it can do bad. And I know it can still do bad. However, the point is poverty is the root of all evil, not having money. And then I've got number 7. Number 7 is my last. Is that my last one? It is my last one on here. And here's what it is. Number 7 is poor people have what's called a lottery mentality. If I could just hit it big one day, if I could just, scratch off this ticket and I could really hit it big. And it's so funny because I went to the grocery store yesterday. I was right outside of Vaughn's, and there was a lady out there that was obese, terribly overweight, hadn't dressed that nice. And she had a stack of these lottery cards, and she was feverishly scratching them and scratching. I mean, I'm talking like maybe 100 of them, a lot. And I thought, wow, that's really pretty sad, because she thinks that, if she could make a little money on that, then, that's how she's going to get ahead. And that's just not the case. So I went off to work, and I worked most of the day. And then I went to the gym, and I don't think she went to the gym, and I'm not making fun of her, but health-wise, she was in bad shape. And then when I left the gym, we had to get some stuff for dinner. So I came home, got showered, did a live video, went back to Vaughn's, and lo and behold, that woman was back sitting outside at that table, and she had another stack of lottery tickets. Now, I have no idea what she spent in a day, but I can tell you this, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Rich people have an action mentality. They're like, if I can put forth some effort and I can do something, then maybe I will get ahead, I do videos. I don't do that many videos. I've started to do a whole lot more because people have asked for it. And sometimes people will say, well, you didn't get that many views on your video. You didn't have that many people on your live. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Later on, I end up getting more views and people contact me. And overall, I get results, right? And we sell our products, and I sell my courses, and I make money. And it may not be what you think it should be, but it's more than what you'll get if you do nothing, right? I mean, what kind of results are you going to get if you don't do a video? I think a lot of people don't do that, or they don't do a sales page, or they don't do an ad because they feel like, well, if I do it and it doesn't work out, that I'm going to look bad. Quit worrying about that. That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Those people that are going to have opinions about you are probably not the people that you really want to be around anyhow. You want people to say, well, that's a great job. You got 3 people to watch, or you got 2 people. That's more people than they have because they're not doing anything, right? So the point I want to make here is do something, get some results. And, success is not like, and I've had people say, well, you got it made now because, you were successful in this survival food company and you've got these courses. No, because that stuff goes up and down. It's not every single day I make, millions of dollars from my food company. It just chugs along, and there's, peaks and valleys, and I make money on it. And the same thing with my courses, and same thing with coaching, and same thing with marketing, and the same thing with these videos. But I know this, if I keep putting forth effort every single day in the right direction with the right people and working hard at it, overall, I'm going to make money and I do well. So I just wanted to share those 7 points with you today. I hope it helps you out. I want to give you a free course too. If you go to the, I guess it's the description section, and I'm sure it's on YouTube, and I think it's on Facebook too. And I'm trying to look at 2 different cameras here. I'm not doing what you think, looking away. I've got two different cameras here. If you do that, you're going to see a link in there and it says free e-commerce course. If you click on that, it's free. You don't need a credit card. You don't have to pay for anything, but it's going to give you some insight into doing e-commerce online, and it really will help you out. I highly suggest it. If you want to get my book, that's also in the description, and that will help you find products to sell online. And we also have my inner circle there, which I highly recommend. The inner circle is awesome. It gives you access to all my courses and everything. And if you're really serious, you want to get ahead fast, inner circle is the way to go. But grab the free stuff, do all that. I really appreciate you listening. And do me a favor, just hit that like button right now. While we're talking about it, hit that like button. That means a lot to me, because the more interaction one of these videos get, the more people get to see it, more people can benefit from it. And I want to know, have you tried some of these things? You know, did some of these things that I just described to you, do you see them in your own life? Do you see it going on in your own life right now? Or are you doing the opposite? I want to know that. Put that in the comments there. If you're watching this on YouTube, which YouTube's right here, Facebook's right there. If you're watching this on YouTube, I need you to subscribe to my channel. Now, this is simple to do. There's a little subscribe button there. You just click on it and boom, you're subscribed, but you're not done, because then what you need to do is click the little bell button there. And what that bell will do, now this is awesome, it will notify you when I go live. It will notify you when I put up a new video, because I don't always go live. Sometimes we do videos. Some of our stuff's edited that, you know, and get put up. It makes it look a little bit better. So make sure you hit that notification thing, that you're going to get notification. You got to click that bell. I really appreciate you listening today, taking time out of your day. Let me switch back to this other screen here. There we go. And I thank you so much for that. And if you have any comments or questions, you can also put those below. Even after this video is done, I go back to it and I answer stuff. I do try to answer 100% of all the comments in there. So please, please, please do that for me. You know, put some comments in there. And I really appreciate you listening. I'm going to turn off, I think, Facebook first, and then I'll do YouTube first. YouTube's down here. So we'll stop YouTube here real quick. And we are